without which we can never motivate ourselves and galvanize ourselves. Our expectation levels to demand more from our political system, from our Congress, our President, our courts, right down to the local community. If we do not demand more, if we lower our expectation levels, the politicians will surely oblige us. And that's why we got to make that distinction between personal freedom and civic freedom. But there's another distinction we must make, and that is this. We have awfully great assets to turn this country around. You and I know we have all kinds of solutions on the shelf and often in pilot projects around the country for energy, solar energy, energy efficiency. We have solutions for affordable energy. We have solutions to turn these public schools around and make them comparatively responsive to the great idealism and excitement of 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds with their thirst for learning by getting rid of Leave No Child Behind, for starters, which does leave child behind. It's about expectation levels, and that means we have to make demands on ourselves. And I want to leave you with an ancient Chinese proverb. You know, when I was in school, I studied Chinese, Russian, Arabic, Spanish, and it was really quite interesting to see how they would try to get you to learn the languages through proverbs. This one is from the Ming Dynasty in the 14th century. And once you hear it, really you'll never forget it, because it sears right to your soul. It sears to the situation we're in now. So many solutions, so many good people who know how to do good things for our country, shut out or demoralized. And here it is. To know and not to do is not to know. To know and not to do is not to know. You know. You wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't know. You know of the injustices, and you know of what we can do with these injustices and these deprivations and these detonations of human possibility. To know and not to do is not to know. And I want to leave you with a reflection on Jimmy Carter. Bill Clinton, who supported the cruel economic sanctions against the people of Iraq in the 1990s, which didn't disadvantage Saddam Hussein one bit. He had his mansions, and he had his food, and he had everything he wanted, medicine. Took the lives of an estimated 500,000 Iraqi children by the estimate of a distinguished panel of physicians in this country who would go over Iraq and survey the scene. He gets prime billing at the Democratic National Convention. Jimmy Carter, who is clearly our greatest ex-president ever. Yeah. And I say this even knowing he opposed our candidacy in 2000, in 2004, and will in 2008. But his advances of health care in Africa and elsewhere, his peacemaking around the world, his work to get rid of serious infectious diseases, and his heroic book after being the only president who brought peace between Israel and Egypt, his heroic book, which showed the way for a two-state solution supported by a majority of Palestinians and Israelis and Jewish Americans and Arab Americans to resolve that conflict that is radiating and festering through a huge portion of the world that's turned against us. He is given a belated, subordinated role at the Democratic National Convention. I guess that's their definition of political heroism. My friends, on January 21st, George Bush and Dick Cheney will become fugitives from justice. The The full application of the federal criminal laws are applicable to them. They are not immune. Fugitives from justice without sheriffs pursuing them, or district attorneys, will establish a horrendously monarchical precedent for future presidents who think that they may get away with the same criminal and unconstitutional behavior day after day, week after week. I want you to contemplate the words peace, freedom, and justice. Without justice, there is no happiness. What we need to do is to change our routines and apply our time, without which we cannot apply our talent, without which we cannot apply our moral authority or our energy. To apply our time to waging peace, muscular peace, to make our country a humanitarian superpower in all the marvelous ways that will come around the world and prevent the sources of violence and starvation and disease and dictatorship. Freedom, meaning only participation in power, otherwise it's just a will-o'-the-wisp word of manipulation by political charlatans. And justice, great work of human beings on earth, as Senator Daniel Webster once said, way back when. To know and not to do is not to know. To be true to ourselves and to marshal our assets and all the things we own, like the Commonwealth of the public lands and the public airways and public research and development, and to stop rationalizing our own futility is what I and Matt Gonzalez, couldn't be here tonight, would like you to take from this arena. Because it's only individuals and small communities that provide the resurgence of the democratic spirit, the public sentiment that Lincoln spoke about, and the fortitude to challenge the concentration of power. Justice Brandeis put it very well when he said, we can have a democracy, or we can have the concentration of power in a few hands, but we cannot have both. Ponder that in terms of your own unfulfilled potential to gratify yourself year after year by being shoulder to shoulder with your fellow citizens in the advancement of justice in our country and around the world. Thank you very much.